Instant Mood Improver is recorded on Bunurong country. I pay my respects to local elders past, present and emerging and acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded and this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to any mob who may be listening today.
Put a pep in your step, turn your frown upside down, make it more fun to be around. Instant Mood Improver. Instant Mood Improver. Instant Mood Improver. The songs that make you feel happy again.
G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast. I'm your host, freelance music journalist, content creator, and vocalist for the band Catholic Guilt, Brenton Harris. Each week on Instant Mood Improver, I speak to a guest about a song that instantly improves their mood the moment they hear it, and use that as a leaping off point for a broader discussion about the role that music plays in their happiness. Today's guest is Jesse, the frontman for Orange hardcore veterans Stick to Your Guns. Jesse and I caught up ahead of the Australian leg of their 10th anniversary tour for their iconic fourth album, Diamond, and had ourselves a total blast talking about his instant mood improver, Above the Clouds by Gang Starr Inspectah Deck. We also spent some time reflecting on the way Jesse uses chiller music to bring balance to his rather frenetic life, and the instant mood improving qualities of Diamond as a record. G'day everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast, where we talk to people all about the songs that put a pep in their step, turn their frown upside down, and otherwise make this miserable existence a little bit more enjoyable, if only for 3 minutes. I am your host, Brenton Harris, and today's guest is Jesse from Stick to Your Guns. How you going, man?
I'm going fantastic, Brenton. That I didn't know much about this podcast, but wow, that intro, I'm already happy to be here. Thank you so much.
That's outstanding. Well, the first question I have for you then, Jesse, is what is a song that instantly improves your mood the moment you hear it?
Oh man, this is such a loaded question, and I wish, even though the publicist who got this interview for me tried to make sure I was going to be prepared, I still feel like I'm not prepared. But you know what? I think I'm just going to go with immediately what comes to mind, because that's probably the truthful answer, right? If I think about it too much, I'll be all over the place. But I don't know if you're into hip hop, but there's a hip hop group called Gang Starr. They put out a song called Above the Clouds. And anytime I hear this song, it like gets me so fucking pumped. And it's the beat. The beat is done by a very well-respected hip hop producer named DJ Premier. And the rapper's name is Guru. He's actually passed away now. But when I hear this song, it's just like, oh man, it makes me feel all the things. You know what I'm saying? All the right things.
This is a very in character response for you, I must say. It's a damn good track, and that absolutely gets me too. But the wordiness of the lyrics also makes me feel like it's an appropriate choice for you. Do you appreciate the fact that you can vibe with the lyrics as well as vibe with the beat?
Absolutely, because I feel like, especially in hip hop at that time, right? You know, there's this mentality of the harsh reality of what it's like to live as a poor, specifically in a lot of hip hop, especially out of New York, as a poor Black person in the streets, because the law of the state doesn't always match up with the law of survival, right? And so hip hop tends to be pretty grimy and pretty talk about the harsh reality of what life is. Groups like Wu-Tang Clan are an absolute perfect example of this, which is that probably would have been a second answer, some Wu-Tang song. But when I hear Guru, and he's just like this, he's almost like a philosopher, right? I mean, all these hip hop dudes are, especially from then, but like, he levitates when he's rapping, and like, especially this song, like you said, talking about this, like, we got to elevate ourselves if anything's going to change. And it's just like, wow, it just gets me there, you know?
To me, it has quite a lot in common with a lot of the PMA side of the hardcore genre,
sure,
which you obviously are actively engaged in. Do you see a through line between hip hop and hardcore?
I think that hip hop and hardcore have been inexplicably linked since the creation of. I mean, hip hop came first, arguably, I suppose. But punk as well, because this is, you know, both hip hop and punk, at least in their origins, was outcast music, right? Or it was working class poor music. And so that's, I feel like those two things have always found, also, you know, they've always found respect for one another. You know what I'm saying? So I think absolutely. I think that there's especially ethically, you know, there's a lot of truth speakers in both worlds.
Yeah, agreed. Now, in terms of the first time you heard this song, do you think it made you feel happy and joyous the first time you heard it? Like, was this an immediate vibe with you?
So I don't know if happiness is the word, but it's still that profound feeling where you almost feel like antsy, where you're like, I couldn't believe what I was listening to, especially because like hip hop I've always been really attracted to, obviously because of like the lyricism, I suppose, if you want to call it that. I hate to make it sound so like, you know, prissy or whatever, but it's like, if we want to call it that, like I've always been attracted to that, but also the beats, because, you know, I play guitar and I play piano and I played trumpet growing up and I played drums and shit like that. But I never, I couldn't understand, like hip hop is not something I've ever even dove into, like making a beat or whatever. And the man, you gotta be a genius to do some of that shit. And DJ Premier is you know, I would consider DJ Premier a genius for sure.
That's awesome. Now, of course, you do sing in Stick to Your Guns, who have a veteran hardcore band at this period in time, and you are coming down to Australia. So a question linked to that is, do people often tell you that your music instantly improves their mood or plays a positive role on their mental happiness?
Absolutely. I mean, especially because right now, you know, we're touring all over the country, or all over the world, actually, on our, you know, it's a 10-year anniversary of our album Diamond. And you know, people say such nice things to me that sometimes I almost don't feel like I deserve it. But something I definitely want to reiterate is like, you know, Stick to Your Guns created this album, and like we didn't set out to create anything profound. We were kind of just setting out to just like speak what we felt was truthful to us. And there's been so many amazing people who have said such great things to us and have given this album the meaning that it has. You know what I mean? And I think that often gets misconstrued as if we created this meaningful album. We can't do that. Only people who are on the receiving end of that album can do that. And so to have lived this life where I can be lucky enough to have these people from all over who speak different languages, come from different backgrounds, make my life that meaningful is like, yeah, I feel grateful for that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I love the fact that you just said that that a band can't create meaning in a record. It's up to the receiver or the listener to do so. I think that's a point that often gets missed. It's been really interesting having conversations with people on these podcasts pertaining to the music that makes them happy. Often isn't what you'd immediately assume it to be either. That you create, of course, it's definitely proof that you create the meaning. Interestingly enough, this is going to go out as a package podcast with a chat I did with Connie from See You Space Cowboy, who of course is joining you on the tour. And Connie's choice was "I Kissed a Girl" by Katy Perry.
I actually, really quick, if we have time, I'm gonna tell you a really funny like situation is we were on Warped Tour one year. I can't remember the year, but it's when Katy Perry was on it, and we were on the same stage, or actually we were on the same area. So we had the Warped Tour had this thing where they had two stages right next to each other. So a band would play, and then immediately when they were done, the next band would play. And Katy Perry, it was a lot of the time it would go "Stick to Your Guns," Katy Perry, and this is when Katy Perry had just come out with that song. So at the beginning of Warped Tour, there was like no one watching Katy Perry, and then by the end of Warped Tour, the crowds were like insane. It was a crazy thing to like witness the shoot up of Katy Perry in real time. But yeah, that's a funny song, and the song goes, honestly, it's a good track.
It does go. Now, Stick to Your Guns has been going and going and going for quite a while at this point in your career, and you've established yourselves quite a reputation for being one of the bands that is willing to go out there and put your money where your mouth is in terms of your lyrical perspectives and your charitable endeavors and things along those lines. You personally are quite big into animal rights and animal and things like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What have you been doing in that space recently?
I mean, I don't do much in the like as far as like activism goes. It's not so much on the specifically just the animals. Like obviously I've been vegan for like, I don't know, 18, 20 years, something like this. So that's always been an important part of who I am, and also how I express my beliefs in a material way, I suppose. But I think once I realized that the current system that we're living in the West will exploit anything and everyone, even if everyone went vegan tomorrow, they're just going to find a different way for that to harm something or someone else. And so I think ultimately my shift towards my politics and towards the things I fight for are not just animals, but also human exploitation as well, because humans are also animals, you know what I'm saying? In one sense. And so, I think in my personal opinion, and I don't want to say anything too controversial, but I think that while capitalism exists, we're not going to be able to find true solutions to these kinds of things. And again, like I said, this is just based on my own personal studies. And these are my own personal conclusions, and I'm fine if people want to disagree with me on that. But I'm always open to a conversation, and I love trying to convince people, because that's what it is. I like being convinced of things, and I like to try to convince others as well to live a more compassionate life.
It seems like an awful lot of Australians have been convinced, because you have quite the fanatic fan base down here. You've been coming for many, many years. I am curious, what's the fondest memory you have of touring down under?
Probably the very first time I came in 2009 with Terror and a band called Against. I don't know if they're still a band actually, but I have a tattoo actually on my leg of that tour. Just because it was the first time I had been so far from, I think it was 2009. I had been so far from home, and the tour was just amazing. And like, we had a driver named Trent who sings for that band Relentless from Australia, and he was driving us around and showing us all the cool spots. And it's like to pull over and just look into the water and see fucking sea turtles just swimming around and jumping in the water. It's just like, it's a fucking joke, you know what I mean? And it's like the whole thing just seems like a fantasy. So it was truly like holy shit moment for me. Like it was awesome.
That's awesome. Also, I love the fact that we got an Against drop on Instant Movie Improver. That's amazing. Like shout out to Brisbane Hardcore.
Exactly.
That sounds like a blast, man. Now, in terms of music's role in your personal happiness and your joy and your well-being as a human being, what is it that you tend to gravitate towards when you need a lift in your mental conditioning?
Sure. So actually it's interesting. I would actually say I need more of a down, because I'm a person who, I've been prescribed with ADHD since I was like, 10 years old, and I went on Ritalin, and that fucked me up and all that kind of shit. So I feel like I have a brain that moves quicker than I can. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes that overwhelms me, and I get so distracted by everything that I kind of need something that makes everything still. I need something that makes everything a little bit slow and quiet, and something that's that I can kind of just, I don't want to say get lost in, but something that can kind of like soothe me, so to speak. And also I spend so much time on airplanes, and I'm a bit of I'm not a good flyer. I'm scared of flying. That's just what it is. It scares me. And so I need something that can soothe that anxiety as well. And so I listen to a lot of like, I don't know if you've heard of M Sage or like Tycho as well. Like a lot of this kind of just like ambient kind of shit that's just like got a lot of cool sounds and click clacks for my brain to like, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's a type of music that kind of just chills me out. So yeah, that's what I do.
That's cool. Like, as I was saying before, like there really is no wrong answer to these questions when it comes to the fact that music has on people's mindset. It's amazing. Like you'll talk to some people and they'll be like from the softest band in the world, but they'll listen to Cannibal Corpse because it evens them out, Exactly.
Or the amount of like, we play a lot of festivals in Europe, and those have a lot of like old metal dudes who are kind of like scary looking. And it's like, these dudes just love jazz and blues. You know what I mean? That's all they listen to all day long. It's like, it's always so interesting. So
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Now, this tour, you're coming down to Australia. We'll see you, Space Cowboy. You're hitting a lot of rooms, as per usual, with the Stick to Your Guns tour down under. I think it's going to be a total blast. Is there one song off of the Diamond record that you're most looking forward to seeing the crowd lose their shit to?
I mean, yeah, really any of the songs on Diamond that we don't normally play. I mean, we've been playing Diamond songs for the last however since it came out, you know what I'm saying? And it was funny because we went to go play the album. We were like, shit, we already play like 6 of these songs in our normal set list. So, but yeah, all the ones that we don't normally play, like, you know, there's a song called Beyond the Sun on the record that I don't think we've ever played in Australia. So I'm always just excited to play these kinds of tracks and shit. So, especially for people who are fans of us, like, I think it might be a thing for them to like come see a song that we don't normally play, especially because we're already there so rarely. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. People are going to absolutely lose it. I'm looking forward to it. You're actually playing like 3 minutes from my house.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to pop down and check it out. I actually saw Drain there like a couple of weeks back, and it was fucking intense. Well,
I mean, I expect nothing less.
There was
Drain
shots.
is just like, it's absolutely fucking crazy, man. Like, Sammy has just got so much fucking stoke in him that he's just like, he is an instant mood improver himself, let alone Drain. You know what I'm saying?
He absolutely is. He absolutely is an instant mood improver. Now, I must let you go. It's been an absolute joy chatting to you today, man. I thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Before we go, as per usual, we will close out in the traditional way, which is telling everyone that Stick to Your Guns are headed to Australia. You might check them out. I'll put the links in the bio, and we're going to leave you with the sounds of not one, but 2 Stick to Your Gun songs.
Hell yes.
Against Them All. And Empty Fucking Heads. Because this shit improves my mood the moment I hear it. It's going to improve your mood the moment you hear it. And then we'll drop Jesse's instant mood improver. Have yourself a blast, man. I'll see you in Melbourne. Enjoy your life.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
That brings to a close this episode of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast. A massive shout out to Jesse from Stick to Your Guns for appearing on the pod today. Stick to Your Guns will be touring Australia as part of their Diamond 10th anniversary tour through late January and early February. Head to destroyerlines.com for more info on the tour. If you enjoyed our discussion, I'd appreciate it if you left a positive review or gave me a follow on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. I'll leave you now with the sounds of Jesse's choice of Instant Mood Improver, Above the Clouds by Gang Starr and Inspectah Deck. And then a double dose of the instant mood improving rages that are Against Them All and Empty Heads by Stick to Your Guns. See you in the pit.